along with the plans. This is a view from the future park across the street. The orange structure is CASA Roseland. Next slide, please. Here's a partial east elevation at the lobby entry. Next slide, please. Here's a partial south elevation. Appeal and uphold the zoning administrator's action by approving the CASA Roseland project design review. Next slide, please. This is my contact information. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email or call my direct work number. We have city staff and Andrew Triple, supervising senior, available to also address, along with myself, to address any questions you might have of staff. The applicant and appellant are also present.
Thank you for that. I'd like to bring it back to council for any questions. Seeing none, I'd like to call the Councilman Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. You called me before I left the scene. Christina, good afternoon. How are you? My question to you would be, has there been any negotiation or attempts to purchase the property in the past? And if so, has there been a result, or what result came of it? Apparently there wasn't, right?
Thank you, Mr. Councilmember Alvarez. I'll defer to the applicant to answer that question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can the applicant in Zoom please raise their hand, or are you thank you, they're participating in council chamber.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Great. I'm Allie Gaylord, Director of Housing Development for Mid-Penn's North Bay office. We're the applicant for this project. And Mid-Penn is not an owner of the land at the moment. It's owned by the Sonoma County Community Development Commission. And I believe there had been some conversations about purchasing additional property by the CDC, but that's not something that Mid-Penn has been involved in.
Thank you so much. Does that conclude the questions from the council? All right, seeing no more questions at this time, I'd like to call the zoning administrator.
Christina, I don't see Andy on the line. Is there someone?
Oh, sorry, Ms. Manis. Amy Nicholson served as acting zoning administrator since Andy was the original planner for the Roseland Village. She stepped in as acting zoning administrator, and she has her hand raised.
She's just been promoted to panelist. One moment.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Rogers and members of the council. My name is Amy Nicholson. I'm a senior planner with the Planning and Economic Development Department. And as Ms. Tumians just mentioned, I was acting as the zoning administrator during the June 1st special ZA meeting when CASA Roseland received approval for minor design review. Both Ms. Tumians and the applicant provided a presentation during this meeting. And then we did open up the public hearing portion of the item where members of the public were able to provide comments. During this period, the appellant did provide his public comments regarding the easement being discussed this evening. And staff did provide answers or a response to those public comments, including that the land use approvals, including the site development pattern, were previously approved by both the commission and the council in 2019. And I also responded that design review was focusing on the architecture and the landscaping for this affordable housing project. During that meeting, I was able to make each of the findings required for design review. And so that is why the project was approved at that time. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Council, are there any questions? Thank you so much. Seeing none, I would like to call the applicant for presentation of 10 to 15 minutes.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Good evening, all. My name is Devin Neary. I am the project manager for CASA Roseland and the Tierra de Rosas master plan. I want to start by saying thank you to Vice Mayor Rogers, the city council members, and city planning staff for all your work on this important project. Next slide, please. Mid-Penn Housing is a nonprofit affordable housing developer with over 50 years experience in the Bay Area. We've developed or rehabilitated over 8,000 homes for low-income families, seniors, and special needs individuals across over 120 affordable housing communities. Mid-Penn maintains its own property management services and strives to ensure that every community we manage benefits both our residents as well as the surrounding neighborhood. Our resident services team delivers on-site programs, education, and services to Mid-Penn residents of all ages as well. Next slide, please. CASA Roseland is part of the larger master development known as Tierra de Rosas and will provide 75 affordable apartment homes in the Roseland neighborhood and will address the shortage of high-quality affordable housing in Sonoma County. The units are designed to accommodate families, with over 2/3 of the units designed as 2 or 3 bedrooms. The units will be leased to individuals and families with income levels ranging from 30% to 60% of the area median income. Next slide, please, and I'll turn it over to our project architect to describe the design.
Thank you very much, City Council. My name is Rick Williams with Van Meter Williams Pollock. We're the project architects for CASA
Excuse me, could you raise the podium a little bit? We can't hear you, and the recording won't come through correctly. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes, and if you could speak closer to the microphone, that would be great.
Thank you. My name is Rick Williams. I'm with Van Meter Williams Pollock. We're the architects for CASA Roseland for Mid-Penn. We have been working on the design of the building since the master plan has been approved, and it is the L-shaped building on the upper left-hand corner of this site plan. Next, please. The design of the master plan has gone through some preliminary refinements based on meetings with the community and discussions of the design review board that were discussed previously. Some of the refinements included making sure that the style of the building fit in with the overall complex, but added multiple varieties, colors, and other treatments were added as well. Next, please. And we wanted to maintain some key aspects of the master plan design, which we'll show you as we proceed through the presentation. Next, please. As was noted, color and building patterns and materials were discussed during the master plan, and a colorful palette was prescribed and discussed with the community early on in the master plan process, and we took that to heart during the design portion of the project as well. Thank you. Next, please. In doing this, we developed a series of different color palettes and material selections to highlight accenting specific areas of the design, including the balcony railings, the metal railings of the design, to bring various color opportunities to the building and discuss those with the community. And in doing so, we had multiple community meetings where we discussed the different alternative color palettes and the design. There was a movie night where you had the opportunity that people on site during an evening of movie watching, had the opportunity to discuss the color opportunities of the project. There were material boards at the library where visitors could submit their comments and recommendations on the colors. And we also had a live online survey of the various color opportunities and detail opportunities for the development. Next, please. We did get some wholehearted support, consistent throughout all the different avenues of gathering community support, community preferences on this. Was really pretty clear that the strong, bold, reddish corner material with the various highlights that are illustrated here were the preferred color palette for the building. So we have proceeded with that as part of the design review package. Next, please. And the railing also, well, we had many different patterns and material colors. This was the preferred outcome by most individuals, to really have a more organic shape, which really contrasts well with the geometries of the building. So we are very happy with the community input and have developed the design using that color palette and detailing. Next, please. The site plan, the building plan itself and the site plan did not change substantially from the master plan. There are a few minor variations on the interior spaces. The parking, including the shared parking highlighted in yellow there, remain the same, just slightly different layout, but essentially the same number of parking spaces. And we also looked at moving a community building, a community space to the back side of the building to allow for a relationship with the open space. Next, please. This was presented showing how the purple colored common rooms were open to a private open space for young children so that they could spill in and out from part of their after-school programs to the play areas. And that was one of the only refinements in the building space planning that was done in the further development of the design. Next, please. The open space was presented. It has opportunities for a variety of age of children, as well as gathering spaces for the adults, the barbecue area and seating area, so people can keep an eye on their kids as they're playing as well. So we felt that it was a win-win situation on the overall design of the open space, and it was presented to the community at various times, and they appreciated the design of the open space for the kids and the orientation to the children. Next, please. Some of the other elements that were brought into the open space are illustrated here. Next, please. As mentioned before, the overall design of the building, the design committee mentioned having more of a contemporary style while maintaining some traditional elements to the development, and we took that to heart with both the window design and some of the forms of the building, particularly at the corner. Next, please. And you can see how the building refined itself over time. Here were the original master plan drawings, which show a trellised arcade on the ground and a highlighted corner element, and then a recessed entry. Next, please. And here you can see how we still have a highlighted corner with a different style or form, and then you can still see the recessed entry where we added color and a playful accent, and the arcaded trellised area along the ground floor is still maintained as part of the overall aesthetic of the building. Next, please. Looking at A Street and how an arcade or trellis was continued in the master plan form before it transitioned to residential. Next, please. We showed this design element, which has the same corner and the trellis wrapped around. Rather than having the arcade, we continued the trellis wrapped around. And because we moved a little bit of the community space to the play area, We added a few residential units along the street so that A Street has a little bit more of a residential character along it. Next, please.
Mr. Williams, I'm going to have to ask you to lean closer to the microphone. We can't hear you on the recording.
Okay. Thank you. So this is the image of the residential walk, and it shows the entry porches along it, making it an active frontage with families that spill out to their front porches along the street. Next, please. And this is the final design slide. It shows a view from the park. This really anchors the open space for the community and really presents the overall vision for CASA Roseland and the overall master plan. And I am going to allow Devin to close. Thank you.
You have 4 minutes remaining of the 15-minute allotment.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
4 minutes remaining.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So as Rick mentioned, MidPenn implemented a robust community engagement process between 2016 and 2018, including 4 community meetings and 3 design workshops with over 260 community members participating. MidPenn has continued our outreach efforts in the Roseland community. We recently hosted 2 additional drive-in movie nights free of charge at the site in May and June of this year, with over 230 people in attendance. Prior to the feature film, we screened an informational video providing updates on the project's progress and next steps. We've also been distributing surveys to Roseland residents where they can select their preferences for design elements in the public plaza and street names for the new streets that will be created as part of the Tierra de Rosas master plan. Next slide, please. The final plans and community benefits included in the Tierra de Rosas master plan came out of the feedback we received from the community. These benefits include a mix of homes by affordability and size, a multi-use civic building, a vibrant public plaza, and opportunities for local small businesses. The project is also bringing $35 million in state funding for transit improvements into Roseland. These improvements include Joe Rodota trail linkages, new sidewalks and bike paths, and widening Sebastopol Road to create safer routes for pedestrians near the site. Headways on City Bus Local Route 15 will be reduced from 60 minutes to 30 minutes on weekdays, and a new electric bus will be purchased to service this route. MidPenn and our partners continue to make progress towards our goal of completing the Tierra de Rosas master plan as an equitable and inclusive development as approved by the City Council. The public infrastructure improvements are close to receiving city approval and will hopefully break ground and be completed in 2022. Matote Food Park is breaking ground this summer and will feature local food trucks, vendors, and small businesses. Design approval for CASA Roseland would bring the project one step closer to breaking ground and delivering much needed affordable housing to the Roseland community. So that concludes our presentation, but we would like to briefly address the appeal as well. MidPenn Housing designed the master plan in response to the existing easement identified in the appeal, and the design ensures access to the neighboring parcel is maintained. The plans are completely in compliance with access and parking as required by the easement. Further, the design review currently being considered by the City of Santa Rosa does not involve or impact the parking that is the subject of the lawsuit that is currently ongoing. Additionally, the trial court in that pending lawsuit has issued a tentative ruling in favor of the CDC and MidPenn, stating that the CDC project would not frustrate the purpose for which the easement, which is the subject of the ongoing lawsuit, and that the allocation of parking in connection with the CDC project satisfies the inferred intent of the easement that is the subject of the ongoing lawsuit. Under the circumstances, there's no reason the City of Santa Rosa should delay approval of the design review of the MidPenn affordable housing project because of the ongoing lawsuit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions of the applicant? All right. Seeing none, I would like to welcome the appellant for their presentation, and you have 10 to 15 minutes to present.
I am working on promoting Mr. Paulson to a panelist. Looks like he's just rejoining the meeting on the panelist side. Mr. Paulson, you are welcome to turn on your camera. or unmute yourself for your 15-minute presentation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, so thank you very much.
Can you see me?
No, I cannot.
Do you want to see me? I can't figure out how to do this. I'm sorry. That one? Okay, I guess, well, you're just going to have to hear me then. I'm John Paulson. I am the appellant for this project. And as Christina, I'm sorry about butchering your name, has mentioned, it is all about the easement. And I'm unaware of the judge's decision. I haven't heard that officially, but tentative decision. But this is a recorded easement that started in 1956 between my father and Hugh Cotting. And so there were two separate owners of the shopping center. And if there's two separate owners, each one has to protect themselves from the other. My father sold Hugh Cotting the 6.9 acres at a 66% discount, relying on Hugh Cotting to bring in an anchor tenant, pave the parking lot, and provide 272 parking spaces. It was a consideration. On the other hand, Hugh wanted my father not to do something that would affect the shopping center and lower its value because he was going to spend a lot of money on it. So the CDC, this easement that's recorded goes with the property. Just because the city buys it does not mean that the easement can be discarded. It runs with the property. It's a circulation and parking easement. 272 parking spaces on the CDC side that will be destroyed by this total project. That the own traffic study that was done by W Trans and it was prepared for the city of Santa Rosa states, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at it, that on peak times, there will be at least 30 car trips, and I'm sure there'll be more, of people looking for places to park on just the CDC project for just the CDC uses. And where are they going to park? They're going to park on my side. And what's that going to do is, yeah, it's going to hurt me, but it's going to hurt my tenants a heck of a lot more because they rely on parking on not only my side, but the CD side for their customers. I just want to say to the city council that I don't want to harm the Roseland community. On the contrary, I and my tenants have provided important services to the Roseland community, surviving and thriving, even though being attached at the hip to the neglected, derelictic circus at the CDC property since 2011. My tenants, who are all Hispanic, continue to provide services to the Roseland community. My tenants rely on ample parking for their customers. The parking on the CDC property, which is by recorded easement, will be eliminated by not only this 75-unit affordable housing project, contrary to what Mid-Penn says, and additionally by the 100 market rate homes that are going to be put on the property. And also, the 100 market rate homes and the location on the map that you saw will eliminate, if it goes through, will eliminate the historical circulation for trucks and access to the back of my property delivered to Camacho Market. There's, next door to the CDC property, there's a church that relies on parking and it helps the Hispanic community with drug outreach. They rely on that property for parking. Camacho Market has served the Roseland community with quality, competitive price items. Camacho Market is a full-service grocery store that helps the Roseland community. El Patron Fashion sells men's and women's fashion clothing to the hardworking Hispanic community, another Hispanic tenant of mine, who rely on the parking. Chula's Party Supplies sells quality quinceañera party supplies, baptismal clothing, and decorations for parties in the Hispanic community. Herbalife offers health food options for the Roseland community. Another tenant of mine, Max Tamales, sells early morning food to hardworking Hispanics in the Roseland community on their way to work. Lamar Peckham is an attorney. He's an immigration attorney that provides services to all immigrant people looking to become U.S. citizens, pay taxes, and be here without fear of deportation. MetroCell provides low-cost phone service and phone bill paying services for walk-in people and people that park at the Roseland Shopping Center. Monica's Tax Services files tax returns for Spanish and English-speaking residents of Roseland. El Farolito Mexican Restaurant has provided affordable food to the Roseland community, another Hispanic business. That will all be hurt by this Mid-Penn project that ignores the recorded easement, and not only recorded easement, but historical prescriptive easements. During COVID, I have accepted little to no rent from all my tenants, and my rents have been fair to them. They've been good people, and I've got some places I haven't got any rent just to keep them there and try and stay in business when they could open. All I've relied on is this dedicated parking easement that Mid-Penn says, unbelievable what they've said. The 100-unit project in the back will eliminate the historical and recorded easement of circulation for truck deliveries to Camacho Market. Yes, this project's going to affect me, but it's going to hurt all these Latino people that have been there for many, many years. And that's why I'm opposing the 75 units, the Batota food court, the park, the 100 units of market rate homes. And that's my appellate reason for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Council, do you have any questions? Seeing none. Oh, actually, now I see one. Councilman Sawyer.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This would be for the city attorney. Would this be the time to ask the question of the city attorney, or is this only for the appellant?
Right now is the time to ask questions for the appellant and their presentation.
Okay, I have no questions for the appellant. Thank you.
I couldn't get my face on there.
All right, seeing no additional questions, I would like to give the applicant about 5 minutes to respond to the appellant's presentation if you wish to do so.
And just a reminder, as you approach the microphone in council chamber to make a public comment or respond, please be sure to get close to the microphone so we can hear you in council chamber, as well as for those participating via Zoom and for perpetuity on the video recording. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Allie Gaylord, Director of Housing Development for Mid-Penn Housing, the applicant. The only response I would like to make is that the issue has been laid before you as a private issue between two parties, and I would ask that the council uphold the appeal and make the finding that the zoning administrator approved for this design review. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing. You do not need to fill out a card. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the council. Madam Host.
If you'd like to make a public comment on item 15.1, the CASA Roseland appeal, please raise your hand via Zoom. Again, if you're participating via council chamber, please approach the podium in an orderly fashion, maintaining social distance. Seeing no public comments from council chamber, I will move to Zoom. The first public comment will be from Jen, followed by Galaxy A71 5G. Jen, I've enabled your speaking permissions. Please unmute your mic and proceed with your comment.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Jen Close, Executive Director of Generation Housing. Vice Mayor Rogers, council members, Mr. City Manager, along with our community partners across sectors who signed on to our letter of support, Los Cien, Santa Rosa Metro Chamber, First Five Sonoma County, North Bay Leadership Council, and Latino service providers. Generation Housing urges you to deny the appeal before you and again voice your support for the CASA Roseland housing project. Not only does CASA Roseland provide 75 sorely needed additional affordable housing units, but the project is part of a master plan to significantly revitalize an old shopping center. It's transit friendly, climate friendly, close to schools, healthy food, and healthcare resources. It's a development focused on providing homes for families, majority of its units 2- and 3-bedroom homes. Gen H has robust endorsement, evaluation, and scoring rubric based on its guiding principles, which value equity, environmentalism, collaboration, and the health in the broadest sense of our community members and community. This project was one of our highest scoring projects, earning our most enthusiastic endorsement. We thank you in advance for showing your continued support for affordable housing development, and always thank you for your service.
The next public comment will be from Galaxy A71. I've enabled your speaking permissions. Please unmute your mic and proceed with your comment.
Hi, I'm representing Max's Tamales, and we've been in business there for about 8 years. We're a small family-owned and operated business, and if we lose these parking spots, it's definitely going to affect our business. We're probably going to go out of business, and we're against this, and we've been there for many years, and I just want to express that. Thank you very much for your time.
The next public comment will be from Amro, followed by Juana. I have enabled your speaking permissions. Amro, please unmute your mic and proceed with your comment.
Hello, good evening. I own the metro cell that Mr. Paulson mentioned earlier. And I just want to share the same concerns that about parking, and I'm afraid, with the CASA Roseland project that I'd lose parking spaces as well. And I've been there, for several years, and we already have some difficulty with parking there, and I can't imagine once this project's complete, the troubles we'll have then, or if it is. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Juana. Juana, I've enabled your speaking permissions. Please unmute your mic and proceed with your comment.
Hello, hi, yes, I'm speaking a part of Juana Cortez from Chula Party Supplies. I am her 17-year-old daughter. She has had this store here with John since, I was born, so technically 17 years. In my point of view, we really need these parking spaces because it makes completely sense for our stores to have our people come in, and so it's easier for them. There's already so many traffic here, as it is, with the food trucks and everything here pretty much, and they're gonna add houses and grass and stuff, and I know that makes it a more beautiful community. But honestly, it's Roseland, and we also don't forget that we also have a home a lot of homeless here who will be here and will hang around, and then most of the people that will move here, live here, you will have a lot of complaints about them because we already have it, but we deal with them working, and because we ignore them. We're we're making our money, we're working here, we're working hard for what we need. And if you're gonna add more parking, then there's going to be traffic with the people in their houses. And then if you take away our parking, people from buying from us are going to park over there. And then people are going to be like, hey, you're parking in my parking spot. There's going to be a lot of problems coming here. And seeing me like as a young viewer seeing this, I feel like this, like, even in my opinion and in my mother's opinion, who owns the store, we're not really a part. Like, we don't want them to build this here, because it will affect us in a really bad way, especially because we've been working here a lot with everyone here beside us. Like, we know like all the people that work here, like, and it's really, it's just gonna impact us a lot. And in my view, I just want this like community here in Roseland to still get what they're buying from us and to come with like families. And families already like come here. You guys, they made like a park by the trail. And as you can see, that didn't even come out to be a good idea because, well, they shut it down. None of the kids come to play there. It's not very like, I don't know, like I never went to that park either because I mean, there's no point to it. And then they fixed up the corner. And again, you've left that corner just as it is and the homeless are there. I just see that in my opinion, and currently I'm pretty sure anybody who wants to appeal this, it's not really a good idea, but I'll stop talking for now, but thank you for listening.
Vice Mayor, I see no additional hands being raised via Zoom, and there are no public comments live from council chamber. Lastly, there were no public comments received via voice message.
Thank you. We will now close the public hearing. I'd like to bring it back to council. Councilman Sawyer, now would be a good time to ask. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And this, Madam City Attorney, this question has to do with our role this evening. Are we, because there have been some compelling concerns voiced by the members of the commercial community there at this site. It is my understanding that we are limiting our comments and our decision to the design elements of this building, are we not?
That is correct, Council Member. The project, the tentative map and the density bonus elements of the project, kind of the bones of the broader project on the property was previously approved by the Planning Commission and that approval was upheld by the council back in 2019. And what's before you tonight is simply the design review. So you're correct. You're looking at the design elements of the building. That could include the form, massing, materials. You can look at the site plan. You can look at the landscape design. But yes, it's the design elements that are before you tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Gallagher.
Are there any additional questions, comments, concerns from council? All right. Seeing none, I would like to hand it over to Councilman Alvarez. I believe this is your item.
It is, Madam Mayor, and thank you very much. The resolution reads as follows. Resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Rosa denying an appeal and upholding the zoning administrating design review approval for CASA Roseland, a project that includes the demolition of existing structures and the construction of a 4-story, 75-unit multifamily affordable housing project located at 665 and 883 Sebastopol Road, Santa Rosa, with the APN number of 125-101-031 and -037. File number DR21-001. And I read further waiving of the text. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Alvarez and a second by Councilman Sawyer. Now that we have a motion on the table, we can have a discussion. Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, can we call, oh.
Vice Mayor Rogers, and my apologies, Councilmember Alvarez has his hand raised via Zoom.
I see it. They keep doing that to me, though. Every time I turn around, then they want to put their hand up on Zoom. Councilman Alvarez.
I'll keep it on your toes, Madam Vice Mayor. This question is for Mr. Paulson.
Yes, Councilman Alvarez.
Good afternoon, sir. In regards to the issue that we're seeing today, is there a way to move forward with the? I guess my question that I posed earlier to the staff is if there had ever been an effort to purchase your property, or had you ever been interested in selling the property to the county at the time or the city now?
I mentioned it to county council to purchase my property. And they said, well, that's a great idea. We'll get an appraiser, and whatever the appraiser tells us, that's what you have to sell the property for. That's not how you sell a property, Councilman Alvarez. You set your own price on it. You don't let the buyer say, this is a price and you're going to take it. So if we can do a workaround around that, then, and protect my tenants, very important to protect them, because we're a family and a partnership. I charge low rent and they're working for me, and I'm helping them out by not exploiting their rent. So if we can do something like that with some sort of workaround and protect them, yeah, I'll sell. But if not, and if the judge rules against me, we'll appeal it to the state Supreme Court.
Very well, sir. And I do appreciate the well that you're taking care of your tenants, as I know them personally, and they speak very well of you. At the same time, I'm very sorry that I'm showing up to this party so late, and I wish that in reality the community could have had a voice a lot earlier into the negotiation, as I really foresaw the entire property being part of the future of Roseland as one solid design. And I don't know, and I feel that although it may be too late for something like that, I hope that in the future both projects can look alike, and maybe those are the future plans that you have for renovation. I don't know, and I can't speak for you, but I know it is the hopes of the community to see a larger project that incorporates your property, and hopefully one day we get to see that as well.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions, comments, concerns from council? All right, I had to take a second look over there. Madam City Clerk, can we please get a roll call vote?
Thank you. Councilmember Tibbetts?
Aye.
Councilmember Schwedhelm?
Aye.
Councilmember Sawyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rogers?
Aye.
That motion passes with 6 ayes, with Mayor Rogers absent.
All right, we're going to move on to 15.2. City Manager, can you please take it away?
Vice Mayor Rogers and members of the City Council, item 15.2 is our second public hearing of the evening. The matter before the council is the placement of the annual stormwater enterprise charges on the Sonoma County property tax roll and the manner of collection. Claire Myers, our stormwater and creeks manager, will be the presenter on this item.
Good evening, Mayor Rogers and members of the council. Do we have the PowerPoint presentation? Perfect. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. I am pleased to be here to discuss the placement of the annual stormwater enterprise charges on the Sonoma County property tax roll. Next slide. As we discussed earlier, in this evening. The Stormwater Enterprise was created by council in accordance with Title 16 of the City Code in 1996. It provides funding for implementation of the city's National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or NPDS, stormwater permit, as well as activities such as creek restoration and stewardship, flood protection, public education, storm drain maintenance, and stormwater quality testing. Next slide. The calculated assessment is based on equivalent residential unit, or ERU, which considers the size of the parcel, the amount of impervious surface, and the land use of each parcel. The current ERU fee is $36.49, which was approved by council during the 2021-2022 budget process. Next slide. In order to simplify the payment process for property owners and minimize collection expenses, it is requested that these charges be collected on the Sonoma County property tax roll on the city's behalf. The charges have been collected annually on the tax roll since they were established in September of 1996. Next slide. It is in the best interest of the city that those parcels not billed by the county due to the charges not meeting the county's $10 minimum to bill, and or parcels with known incorrect ownership contact information shall not be separately billed by the city, as the cost of separately billing exceeds the potential revenue. Any charges not collected will not affect other parcel charges. Next slide. Today's public hearing, in accordance with Title 16 of the City Code, will adopt the Stormwater Enterprise Charge Report, approve placing the charges on the county tax roll for collection, and allow the public the opportunity to protest the method of collecting the charges. Next slide. It is recommended by Santa Rosa Water that the council, by resolution, adopt a 2/3 vote the Stormwater Enterprise Charge Report and approve placement on the Stormwater Enterprise charges on the Sonoma County property tax roll to be collected by the Sonoma County Auditor, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector at the same time and in the same manner as Sonoma County property taxes are collected, unless those charges do not meet the county minimum of $10 and or parcel owner contact information is known to be incorrect. Thank you.
I'd like to bring it back to council for any questions. All right, seeing none, we'll now open public comment or public hearing on item 15.2.
If you'd like to make a public comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're participating via telephone, please dial *9. Vice Mayor, there are no public comments live from council chamber, nor do I see any hands via Zoom. Additionally, we received no voice message public comments on this item.
Thank you so much. It looks like we're going to be handing it over to Councilman Schwedhelm. This is your motion.
Please be sure to close the public hearing.
Oh, sorry. Let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Now we're going to hand it over to Councilman Schwedhelm.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'd move a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Rosa approving and adopting report for proposal to place stormwater and drainage charges on Sonoma County property tax roll for collection with county property taxes fiscal year 2021 through 2022 and waive further reading of the text.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Schwedhelm and a second by Councilman Sawyer. It's now open for discussion by the council. Seeing no discussion, Madam City Clerk, can we please call a roll call vote?
Councilmember Tibbetts?
Aye.
Councilmember Schwedhelm?
Aye.
Councilmember Sawyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rogers?
Aye.
That motion passes with 6 ayes, with Councilmember Rogers absent.
We will now move to item 16. There are currently no written communications. Now to item 17, public comments on non-agenda items. So we will take public comment for item 13 and 17 at this time. Madam City Host.
If you wish to make a public comment on non-agenda matters, please raise your hand via Zoom. Dial *9 if participating via telephone. Vice Mayor, there are no public comments live from council chamber, nor are there any hands via Zoom. Are you okay if I move forward on the recorded public comment?
Yes, please.
Item 13, public comment on 9 agenda items. Name is Dwayne DeWitt from Roseland. Specifically, issue came up with the way the Board of Community Services essentially did not help the disadvantaged, underserved community members of the Roseland Creek neighborhood be able to adequately participate in the decision for a master plan that was being discussed by staff. The dilemma is that it's a top-down staff program rather than a bottom-up authentic community engagement, community empowerment type of activity, which could have been done, but staff for many years have overridden the community members. Due to that, a number of community groups have taken the effort to ask for there be a hearing with the Planning Commission. We couldn't find information on the city's website as to whether what would be the next step. There was a apparent idea that the city council will be hearing the matter on the 29th of September. The community is quite concerned, though, that it needs to go to the Planning Commission so there could be a way to find collaborative and cooperative approaches to resolve inadequacies that have not been addressed due to the way the city's top-down approach from the staff of the Parks Department. In the approach that's taking place right now has been a top-down, there is no alternative approach. It has to be what staff wants. And they have brushed aside a number of comments that have been put forward by concerned citizens from the neighborhood known as Roseland Creek, the most disadvantaged, underserved, and overburdened community, not just in Santa Rosa, but all of Sonoma County. Please help those neighbors. Make it a neighborhood park, with the neighbors participating in how it is actually designed, planned, built, maintained, and managed. This is the most important part of all, the management and maintaining. Southwest Park has turned into just a very, very bad situation.
Vice Mayor, that concludes public comment on non-agenda matters.
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone that joined us today and or participated. And seeing no other business, I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
I would like to say it is 6:06, and I don't think the mayor has done this yet.
Congratulations, Vice Mayor, on your first meeting at the helm. It's been